All right. Okay. What I want to talk about is the mindset of a successful agent. So when we went around the room, I asked everybody what they did prior because I wanted to see kind of your past experiences because you'll actually take those past experiences and you'll use those as a springboard moving into your career. But the a lot of people think when you get your real estate license that you are a salesperson. You're going to go sell real estate, right? It sounds like that on the surface, but you're not a salesperson. You're a business person. And so you have to understand that you're the CEO of your little company. You don't get a paycheck anymore. You're open for business, and it's your ability to market yourself, create leads, and create relationships is the key to this business. Everything else you'll learn. You'll learn how to write offers. You'll learn how to figure out how to, the stuff on the houses, right? Like we mentioned, oil tanks, things like that. You'll figure all that out. But really, the key to long-term success is your ability to run a business and to generate leads. I tell people it's a hard business, but it's an easy business. But if you break it down to the simplest terms, it's your ability to take a stranger and make them a friend as fast as possible over and over again is really the key. Because if you're at an open house and you engage someone in a conversation and you can kind of find a way to relate to them. Maybe they come in, they pull in and they have a set of golf clubs in their back of their car and you're a golfer. Boy, you've got it made, home run. You can start talking about golf for the next 20 minutes. Now all of a sudden they don't look at you as a salesperson, they look at you as someone they can relate with and possibly a friend. So anyway, so that's a big key. But you're a business owner, so you have to understand how to run a business. What does that mean? Well, think about any other business. You build a building, an optometrist. My sister was an optometrist, by the way. She went to Pacific. She went to Lewis and Clark for 4 years, and then she got her doctorate at Pacific. But you get out of optometry school, so you learn the technical side of it, but that doesn't mean anything if you can't get customers, right? You still have to get customers. You still have to market and get yourself out there. So every business is like that. You build a building, you open up a Subway shop. Now you got to, I know how to make Subway sandwiches, but oh my gosh, how do I get customers in the door? And so same with our business. You have to understand how to run a business. You have to manage your expenses, and you have to be smart with your money. So you need money, first of all. You need to have a budget, and you need to be willing to spend money. But also you need to know you can't waste money on foolish things. Let's talk about the day-to-day. Okay. Real estate. So you're your own boss, right? You're the CEO. You're running it, but you also have to manage your own time. And coming from as an employee, coming to where you clock in, I always think it's interesting where let's say you worked a job let's say you were at Comcast, right? You get a speeding ticket to get there on time to clock in so you don't get written up, right? To keep from getting fired. Yet people get a real estate license, and all of a sudden they start sleeping in it till 10 a.m. or whatever. Get to in the office at 10:30. What happened? Because you have to manage your own time. You have to be disciplined. You have to create behaviors, and so the mindset. What separates one successful agent from somebody that goes out, gets licensed, they find it difficult, and they quit. And maybe they're both maybe the same abilities, maybe they whatever, but what makes one successful and the other person not make it and quit? I think there's a lot of things, but you have to first of all create a schedule for yourself. You have to treat it like a job, even though it's not a job. You have to treat it like a job. You have to be willing to work hard. The key to this business, it's real simple. Roll up your sleeves and go to work. You figure everything else out. You got to be willing to work and work harder than anybody else. I still am sometimes the first one in, the last one out, and I've been doing this for a long time. I shouldn't be doing that, right? So so if you want to succeed, it's up to you. But you can't blame other people. You can't. It's really up to you. You have to do it yourself. That's the great part, because it's endless what you can make, right, Scott? You can make so much, you can do so much, and it's so gratifying to help people. But if you don't get some traction, especially on the front end, you start to get self-doubt. You start to think, well, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I wasn't cut out to be in sales. Especially when, you got people in your ear. Sometimes your family members, could be mom and dad, could be a wife, a husband. They could say, I told you weren't cut out for sales. You should go back and get a real job, right? So you start getting that stuff. It's your ability to fight through that first year or two. I have this rule called the quitting rule. Everybody goes through it, so just get ready. It happens to everybody. So when you remember this conversation, when you're thinking, man, I don't know if this is for me, I went through it. Everybody in this room that's been in the business went through it. And here's how it goes. You're going along, everything seems great. You're paying your mortgage payments out of your savings still because you haven't made a sale yet. You finally get some buyers, you're going around, and they're great, you're showing property, and having a great time, and then you call them on a Monday and they don't return your call all of a sudden, which they're always good at getting back to you. Yeah, that's weird. So then you call them Tuesday. Hey, just checking in. Anyway, you come to find out they bought a house from a builder over the weekend, and the builder said, hey, if you don't buy this, I've got someone else coming at 2 o'clock to buy this house. If you don't show up, then, if you don't write this offer, then they're going to take it. Well, when it comes to relationships and money, the money usually wins out, and they write the offer up. Or they'll say, the builder might say, well, I'll talk to your agent and I'll let them know that, hey, you're going to buy this. Whatever it came, anyway, you get knocked out, and it's very disappointing, especially if you need the money. And it's your ability to fight back, and those quitting, your head's telling you, some of these negative things. Your ability to fight through that, to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and go for it one more time. And after you get past a year or so, if you can fight through that, you'll succeed. But you're going to be tested. So the first roadblock will be getting that test done. There's going to be several more coming your way. And so if you can, I just want you to be aware that it's normal. It's very normal to feel that way if you are struggling. You got to fight through to victory. And you find out along the way, you'll figure it out. So I like to say that on the front end, because I don't want people to think they're the Lone Ranger out there. They're the only one struggling, because everybody goes through it. The difference between a winner and a loser is a loser quits, and a winner fights through, and they find a way. They find a way to mentally get back up and get going again. So, but let's talk about the day-to-day, because really the mindset to me is you got to be tough. You got to be mentally tough in this business, and you can't quit. This is where the football coach comes out in me. Because I grew up as the son of a football coach and athletic director, and I was in sports. And there have been many times where we were down and out in a game, and we came back and won, and by not quitting. And because there's a little momentum, it shifts, and it shifts in your business too. Sometimes you can, you got to keep that momentum going on your side. So, but how do you do it? It's a daily activity. You got to win the day every day. So you have to, what I do, a few things, tricks that I do. Marcus is going to talk about goal setting, but I use Outlook, because I'm old, so you can use Gmail or whatever, but you find a, whatever scheduling you use, go in there at, whether you're a morning person or whatever. I'm a morning person, so I get up fairly early. But every day pops up at 7 a.m. to review your daily goals. And every day that pops up, and then I review my daily goals. Of course, you got to write them down so you know how to review them. He'll get into all of that stuff, but basically, so that you start out your day with that. I'll also go in and watch a couple videos on other. I use Darren Hardy. Write him down. I'm going to give you the book when it comes in. It's probably in now. I'll bring it Wednesday for you. Darren Hardy started Success Magazine, and he really, you follow what he does, and it really sets you up for success. Your job is to read that in the next 3 weeks, because we'll take a test at the end. So we want to make sure and read. It's an easy read, actually. So you start out by getting your goals. You have to clear your mind of outside distraction. Avoid a few things. Okay, here we go. Avoid the news. Avoid the drama shows. do it for entertainment, but do it for the right reason, right? There's entertainment and there's education. You're just starting in business. You don't have time to listen to gossip and drama, because TV is all about a bunch of drama that doesn't matter. You know, you watch The Real Housewives of Orange County. That's, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. That, you know, it's look at it as entertainment, but keep it to a minimum, right? Because you only have so much time in your day. Honestly, don't get hooked on the news. You know, just give yourself, you know, a break from that stuff for a while. While you're building your business, give yourself a diet, because you've got your physical and you've got your mental. Go on a mental diet and stop doing that. I love listening to music, but for a while, go get an audio tape of how to run business and use that in your car. To really succeed, you're going to have to do some disciplines that you hadn't done in the past. You have to shut the TV off and do some other things. Read. Read books, and there's a ton of them. Right, Kasha? I mean, I'm sure that you're probably...
There's probably like 4 different books that they recommended to read.
Yeah.
While I was there, so anywhere we go.
What's that?
The Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. There's a ton. We have a library at the Bethany office of books. I mean, there's Napoleon Hill. There's just a ton of them. Fill your mind with that, because Darren Hardy says your body's like a vessel, right? You can choose what you put in your mouth to eat, and if you eat the right stuff, you'll be healthy. If you eat the wrong stuff, you won't be healthy, right? And you'll fail in that area. Same with your mind. It's what you put in your mind. If you read the right stuff versus the wrong stuff, and over time, it has a big impact. It's interesting because it's daily tasks and it's what you do over time that matters. It's decisions. Another thing between a winner and a loser is a winner makes a series of good decisions over their lifetime. When I say loser, I don't mean in the negative sense, right? But a loser will make a series of more bad decisions than good decisions. And so everybody's going to make bad decisions, but if you really work hard to make good decisions in your life, you'll be, over time, that's going to really have a compounding effect on your results. And in business, so what are some good habits? Because you're going to have to change your behavior, because you're no longer an employee, right? So what are some of the things that you have to change now as a business owner? Number 1, you're controlling your own time. So you got to create a schedule. You have to, I think looking at your goals gives you a roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap, how do you expect to get anywhere? If you think about it, if you were traveling across the country, the smartest guy in the world is going to get lost. But someone that's not so smart will find their way eventually with a roadmap. So you have to have, and the goals will create that roadmap. The daily disciplines is you have to change your behavior almost immediately. You have to come in, treat it like a job. You have to lead generate. You're going to have to spend a certain amount of time on lead generation every day. That's your customers coming in the door, right? If you're a retail place, you got to find ways to get exposed out there and get traffic coming into your store, which is you. So you have to create a budget and spend a certain amount there. You're going to have to spend a certain amount of time on education. You're going to have to get. I think the reason that I've been able to stay in the business for so long is my little niche is I'm kind of a resource for people. I try to have a vast knowledge on a lot of different things in real estate. So people come to me for a lot of different things, whether it's subdivisions or new construction or leasing commercial property. I've done a lot of of everything, and so people come to me as a resource, and I think that's kind of been my niche. So fill your brain with knowledge and know as much as you can about everything. Don't you think, Scott? I mean, that really is a separator.
I agree, and even if it doesn't equate to a transaction or anything like that, at least you have that sphere where people know where to go if they have that question.
Yeah,
absolutely. Build relationship.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Also, you're doing it for the money, but money is the byproduct of doing a good job. Don't focus on the money. Focus on you're almost a servant to your clients. There are many times that I've given away stuff for free. Like to your point, I'll do things for people. I'll give you a couple stories. I met some people. I had a listing appointment. Didn't get the listing at the time. They decided not to sell, but they had a couple twin girls, and I gave them a set of bunk beds. I said, oh, and didn't think of anything about it. Until 10 years later, they called and said, remember me? You gave me those bunk beds? Completely forgot about it.
Yeah.
But it's things like that. I'll give you another example. I was literally in this room back in '91. I went out and held an open house for another agent, an experienced agent, because I want to get going. Met a couple that I could tell are kind of, some people have no solicitation on their front door. Those kind of people, they're afraid of salespeople. They came in and kind of standoffish, and I kind of, I tried to schmooze them the best I could, but I kind of they went out and I figured I'd never hear from them. Well, the next day the wife calls me and says, hey, where do you get those flyer boxes? She was doing a garage sale and wanted to put one up. And I said, oh, you don't need to go buy one. You can borrow one of mine. Of course, it's a lead information. So I zip it over there. They use my flyer box, bring it back, didn't hear anything, didn't expect anything, And again, 5, 6, 7, 8 years later, they call me. I list their house. I list their airport property out in Damascus or Escade, I think it was. I listed his mom's house. I've sold him 2 rental properties, and now I'm resold both of those rental properties. All from an open house. So think about that. I do an open house for an experienced agent as someone new. I give something away. I don't expect anything from it. I'm a resource again. And 5 years later, it turns into all this business. So you don't know where the vein of business comes from. So you have to take the dollar signs out of your eyes, and you have to find a way to do this business because you want to help people. And the money is a byproduct of doing a good job of that. If you go after the money, you'll probably fail. Because the money doesn't show up when it's supposed to. It doesn't show up on the first when your mortgage payment's due, right? So really, and I'm being completely honest, don't focus on the money. Focus on helping people, and the money will come. If you focus on the money, people can sense that. They can sense desperation. And they know when you need money and when you don't need money. And if you go in to just help people with that kind of a mentality, and a listing I might not take. I might say, you're better off renting it for a year or so. It's costing me, if I think about the money side of it, I'm giving away a $10,000 bill possibly. But if it's best for them to rent for whatever reason, maybe it's a tax reason or maybe it's another reason, you got to get yourself in a position where you don't need money. Be financially independent as fast as possible. Because once you get to that point, then more money comes your way because you're not focused on it and you're just really out to help people. So how do you get to that point? How do you get financially independent? Making good decisions. Don't buy stupid stuff. And if you want to buy something really bad, like a new car, like the Levante, if you know what I mean, wait a month or 2. Or wait a week even, and see if you really still want it that bad.
Or create a dream board.
Or create a dream board like you have, yeah. And put it on there, and that's a goal. If once I get this amount of, then I can go out and buy my new Levante. So that's, be smart with your money on the front end, because you're going to need it, right? You need to invest it back into your business. And talk to us before you spend money on there's going to be a ton of vendors coming at you, right? They want you to buy this. They want you to buy that. They want you to sign up. Don't do any long-term contracts unless you absolutely have to. And be wise with your budget, because you're going to need that for the right stuff. But you know what? Honestly, you can pick the phone up. It's free. And just talk to people. Build your client list right out of the gate. Get your client list as, your warm market. And get that built up as fast as possible. So one trick that I do, and I've done for years, is when I'm leaving the office and I'm driving home, I think back and go, okay, what was I planning to do at the beginning of the day? What did I actually accomplish? What ended up happening, and did I get to my goals? You'll be amazed at, did you do income producing projects, or did you waste a bunch of time? And give yourself that honest assessment on a daily basis when you're leaving. Because when I say win the day, that's from Chip Kelly, right? But win the day, it's true. Did you? Every day has to be a victory. You got to stack them together. You're not going to win a national championship if you don't have some victories along the way. But it comes down to a daily routine. Did you win the day? What time did you start? What time did you stop? And what did you get your stuff accomplished in your on your schedule for the day, right? So you get up, you look at your goals. First of all, write your goals. You look at your goals. You set your daily game plan together, right? Just like you would in any sports. Your practice plan. Here's your daily game plan, and that has to include income producing projects. That's lead generation. Build your clientele. You have to build a client list, and you have to add to that client list. So you start out with your warm market, everybody that knows you, and we have back there's in the wall. By the way, there's a document called the memory jogger, and it has all the different, like, who does your taxes, who works on your car, who does this, and you fill out your warm market as big as possible. You want to do that right out of the gate, and then when you do open houses and you meet people, you add to that list. So back on your daily plan, you go through and have income producing projects, lead generation. Let us do all the marketing. Let us do all the TC. Focus on the things that make you money. But at the end of the day, when you're wrapping up and you're ready to go, give yourself an honest assessment. What did you do today to meet your goals that you read in the beginning? Another thing too is I like to spend a half hour at night and a half hour in the morning either watching a video or reading something from a book like you showed. I think the mind is very powerful. You have the subconscious mind, and before you go to bed at night, if you watch the evening news and there's a bunch of terrorist stuff, right? All night long, your subconscious is thinking about all that stuff, right? That doesn't mean a hill of beans to us unless it happens to us, right? So why not the last half hour fill your mind with something like that, the cautious reading, something inspirational, something a business book of some kind. Because then when you go to sleep, your subconscious is working all night long about that kind of thing. Because what you really have to do is you have to reprogram your mindset. Because really they don't teach this in college. They don't teach this anywhere. You have to reprogram your mindset to be a business person. Why do some people, they look like they have all this stuff. They've got the perfect life. They've got the big house. And they've got lots of money, and they give to charities and all that. And you think, well, how did they do that? Well, a couple things. One is that they are avid readers. They the two E's, right? They replace entertainment with education, and you have to do that starting out right now. If you want to win, you have to do that. So, give yourself a diet on the TV for a while, and instead of, when you get ready, I'm going to make you feel guilty now. Next time you get ready to click on that show that you can't wait to get home to, Game of Thrones maybe, which is a little bit more, not so dramatic, but it's fun to watch. It's okay to treat yourself to that. I'm just saying don't overdo it. If you're watching 3 hours of TV at night, cut it back. Take 1 hour, right? And then take the other 2 to develop yourself, especially on the front end. Create those habits right out of the gate. And that's going to help you succeed. Because the sad truth is, there's only 1 out of 3 agents will probably make it in the business. So if you look on the left side of you and the right side of you, who's it going to be, right? It's kind of scary to think about. Those are and I'm already in, so you're in trouble, buddy. That's just the stats, right? That doesn't happen at SUMA. So if you follow this stuff, that's why I drilled in your head early on. Remember this stuff. It's important. And then at the end of the week, take kind of a look at the week and say, you know, what did you accomplish? Did you move the ball forward at all in your business? It's a mind game more than anything. This business is a mind game because you're going to go through all kinds of emotional roller coasters coming. Dave, you probably already had that deal, right?
Yeah.
That sucked. You kind of had that money already in the bank, you know, and then all of a sudden it's gone, poof.
Yeah.
It's like I worked, you know, and it's hard in yourself. Well, you know, you worked for the county, right, or whatever. But it's a weird business because normally you work, you clock in for 2 weeks, you get your paycheck. But in this business, you bust your butt for 2 months, and poof, the paycheck disappears. But then other times, you, like Tyler did, he lucked out, he backed into a deal, right? And made $8,000 or $5,000 or whatever it was.
12 grand.
$12,000.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah, he got a sign call on a deal, on a house. Went out and met the people. Of course, it didn't work for him because that house didn't work for anyone. Finally sold it, but anyway, he showed him another piece of property, and they were cash buyers. And it's like, oh my God, it's almost like free money. I don't deserve this because it was $12,000 just laying in my lap. Well, get ready because you're going to earn that 12. It's just going to be on 3 other deals that didn't work out so well. But so it all averages out. So if you think about it that way, everything kind of averages. Every time you talk to somebody, you know, as you get better, because you know you start to, you know your conversion ratios improve and that sort of thing, because your real estate speak improves. But everybody you talk to say it's worth $100 bill.
On that, yeah, I've been working my butt off for like 6 months, wasn't getting any traction, nothing, you know, feeling kind of hopeless. And then all of a sudden I back into this deal, cash buyer closes in 2 weeks, and I go, Dad, I got extremely lucky here, this is crazy. And he goes, no you didn't, that's compounded from all the work that you've been put in over time.
So you average
Finally
$2,000
added up to
a
that.
month, right?
So,
And you can break it down that way. So that's why I keep myself from driving myself crazy. I think, okay, well then if that's the case, every time I make a phone call it's worth $100, I'll make a bunch of phone calls. Because you're not going to get $10,000 divided up, $100 a piece. That's not bad money. So you'd all sit down there and I'll call every FSBO in the nation if that were true, right? I don't care even the results. So
And with my first one, she's getting a real estate lawyer to go after make us for the mortgage. So if she does, me and the listing agent's going to get, and here's my first transaction. Go to my mentor. God, did I do anything wrong? So.
You know,
so I got that on top of it.
right, you might end up down at Salem defending yourself. You know, and those are the killers. That's the part where I guess I wasn't meant for this, right? That's your inner, you know. Basically, you have to keep that from, you know, that happens. So sometimes you get kicked in the butt on the front end, and sometimes I see some agents will flash out of the pan, right? This guy just takes off. Just sale, and then he gets his nose bloody first time, and he quits. You know, so I've seen that a million times too. So I'd rather get beat up on the front end and handle it.
And it was nice with her. She's saying, hey, when I am eligible in 6 months, you're still going to be my real estate agent.
Yeah.
So that was really nice.
Yeah. It wasn't your fault. Yeah.
Right.
But you know, when lawyers come out, they start pointing out, oh, Sumo's got money. Oh, Dave's got money. Oh, you know, they start just bringing everybody into it. So, but yeah. Cheryl will help you with that one. She'll tell you all about notes and all that stuff. Yeah.
So Joe, or his name's like Joel Buckus or something, he works for Prime Lending, and he's a life coach, and he's a great resource because it's free. And like, of course, they're going to tell you about Prime Lending, but like, it's been a huge help. Like, you can meet with them every day if you wanted to, and it's a great resource. And like, we go over like goals and disciplines and objectives and like what projects they want to accomplish at a set date. And so, like, that's a really great resource if anyone wants his contact information, too.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, having a coach, the most successful agents out there, and it doesn't matter how much they make, most of them have some sort of either a coach or a mentor of something, of some kind. It doesn't even have to be in real estate. I mean, there's a lot of business owners out there that are very successful. Write this down, DarrenHardy.com, that he's got a free video. It's every day except for the weekends, and it's just sometimes like a 2-minute to 3-minute little daily dose thing, and you'll get it in your email first thing in the morning, and start and just watch that every day. That's a good start. I'm gonna get, like I said, I've got the books. I'll have probably I'll get them. I'll have Tyler hand them out Wednesday. It's a short read, but it has a lot of great stuff. How are we doing on time? I want to open up for questions. So, do you guys have any questions on? I know some of you've been in the business a while. Some of you are just getting started. Any questions for me? Or Scott or Kasha or any of us that have been around a little bit? Is there anything that...
I'll start with a question because I think this is the biggest. What was the thing that you did to generate leads first and foremost when you first started? Like, what was the most effective way of generating leads for yourself? I know it's different now with today's technology, but
Yeah, I work my warm market. If after a year in business and you go back, and this is always smart to do. After you're in for a year, you go back and you look at the previous year and you look at all the deals you did. And if you're new, you might do one, but you know what I mean. After a while, you start to get a track record, and you look back at where your deals came from. You'll find more than likely a lot of them are going to come from your warm market, people that you know, or referrals, right? So, at first, so I worked at Nike before I got into real estate, and so of course I hit up all my Nike friends, right? They're easy. So that was good. And so I hit all of them up, obviously, and there's still a lot of them are good clients today. But that was very, I did that, and right away, I outworked everybody. And I mean, I tell you what, for me, it was a kind of a swagger that I had. At Nike, they called me Iron Man, because I would get there at 7 o'clock, and I'd work till 7 o'clock. And everyone else was going home, and I would start my second shift, and I did that, and it kind of that was kind of my swagger. I might not be as smart as you, but I will certainly outwork anybody. So just get ready. So that was my little deal. But I bust my butt. I worked very hard, and I figured it out quickly. But to answer your question, I worked my warm market, and then I added to my warm market, and so I got everybody that I could think of. That back then it was people I worked with at Nike. There was previous jobs. It was anybody that I knew. After that, I did open houses, and I just added to the list. And I just kind of worked that list, and that's kind of how I started.
What do you mean by you work your warm market? Are you calling them? Are you going out to coffee? Are you sending them birthday cards? What?
All of the above.
Yeah.
All of the above. Yeah. It's just it's keeping the relationship strong, and I'm not by nature I'm not really the salesy kind of person. I'm pretty quiet and shy, frankly. I mean, I've had to over the years, learn how to talk to people, but I'm pretty much the quiet guy that didn't want any. I sat in the back, and I didn't want to be the guy in the I was kind of the back of the room kind of guy, didn't want a lot of stuff on me, right? So I had to develop that, but I basically went and went out to lunch and just as friends more, and I didn't want to look like I was just trying to, now Tim's in sales, here he goes, especially if you jump around from sales job to sales job. So I didn't want that. So I did more things like just, what a friend to friend kind of thing. I didn't want to come across as a salesperson. Mm-hmm. So however you do that, but that's my style.
So, well, I'm thinking about it in my perspective, because I'm a lot like that. Like I haven't been going out to lunch with all my friends all the time, for 20 years. Mm-hmm. So when you start doing it all of a sudden, it's kind of like weird. Yeah. They're like, okay, what is she up to?
Put their guard up.
Yeah, it's like, all of a sudden you didn't want any attention, all of a sudden you want all the attention. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I get it. Well, your gut feeling, you don't have to do it that way. I mean, so if your gut's saying that seems kind of squishy to me, kind of weird, like all of a sudden, what sales class did you just get out of, right? I didn't want that kind of feeling, you know what I mean?
I got a question.
Yeah.
So I like to ask the same one to the son.
To generate leads?
You're the new generation.
What I do to generate leads is number one, social media. All my leads pretty much come from social media, but it's hard to say that social media is my number one, lead source, because I'm really just reminding the people that I already know within my sphere that I'm in real estate.
Yeah.
So, social. I mean, I'm not really generating cold leads. It's more for the people that I already know, and reminding them that I'm in real estate, and then they'll call me and say, "Hey, I saw your post. You're in real estate. Love to help. Love for you to help me out and everything." Other than that, I mean, I'm a really social creature. I mean, I've built up a huge network over the years. I go to networking events. That's one thing that I do quite a bit. Always getting new cards. I go to networking events, get like 20 cards out into my CRM constantly.
So are they're getting emails from
me?
you?
I do it once a month. I send a market report once a month to my whole sphere, and
You send a market report?
Mm-hmm.
Do you build it yourself?
It's through Altos market, and then you can brand it to yourself.
Okay.
It's the same thing that title companies use.
Yeah.
So I do that. Facebook's huge for me, and I'm constantly using that, adding new people that I meet. It could be at a bar, it could be a friend of a friend.
Okay, so I could do that.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's really it's kind of what I did, but mine was old school because we didn't have it back then. So it's working your warm
We need to do
market.
a little bit of that
Yeah.
too. I think
Yeah.
we need to do that, and there are people our age that appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
the reason that Facebook's great is because I don't have time to reach out to individual people all day, right? When I'm on Facebook, I post one thing and thousands of people have
Did
seen
you
it.
see my new
I did.
thing?
Yeah, it looks great. I liked it this morning actually.
Yeah,
so.
I saw it.
Jacqueline, do you have some?
Oh, do you want to finish?
No, go for it. No, I'm
Okay, so you know how you can brand yourself on Trulia and it's like $1,500, average $1,500 a month. Is that money well spent, or
You don't need to do that. I don't.
The thing is, I mean, let's say you have a budget, and everybody has a limit to their budget, right? Some have more, some have less. Just be really wise with the money. I wouldn't go out and spend $1,500 until I either got some references from other agents that are using it, and I can talk to them. I wouldn't just go throw down $1,500 and sign a 1-year contract with anybody right now.
Right.
No.
You
But,
gotta,
is the statistic supporting, in your experience, have you used it? Did it generate?
I haven't. No, I haven't. So back on, kind of to bridge this, the social media, we didn't have that, but we were working the warm market, and that's really what Tyler's doing, is working his warm market.
That's all I'm doing. It's only the people that already know me that I'm really pushing towards on Facebook. It's not new people. I don't think that anyone's going to message me out of the blue that I don't already know on Facebook, which just doesn't make sense. But I got a listing off of Twitter, and you never know where they're going to come from. So I post everything on every social media like possibly can.
Here's another thing too. Go live your life and have fun. You can make money having fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you what, when you relax, and if you want to go bar hopping and you meet people, fine. You go, you might take a half a day off and go skiing, right? And you meet someone on the chairlift and you sell them a $500,000 house. Nothing wrong with that. So go out and live your life and have fun.
Look at people like Alex Gordon. I mean, he's new to the business, and he's already getting tons of traction. He's doing super well, and that's literally just him being a normal person, just having a personality.
Alex isn't normal.
He's not normal, but having a personality that people want to engage with. Everywhere he goes, he's just a walking. Just people attract to him, And real estate is the conversation that comes later, but people naturally gravitate towards him, and just having that personality. You could never work. You could just be out and about all day.
He's the kind of guy where he can use his dynamic personality to generate.
Yeah.
I don't have that, right? I'm not going to be the center of attention like him. I'm not going to be dancing on the dance floor like him, probably. Depends on how much I have to drink, I guess. But there's other things you can do. Everybody is a unique individual with a unique personality, and you have to find what works for you. Maybe cold calling. Some people Alicia Manis loves the phone. Most people throw up with the thought of picking that thing up, right? So, so you just have to find what works for you. Scott.
So early on in my career, and it's funny you brought up the instance of being disappointed by clients, and early on when I first started as a real estate broker, I literally told everybody I was becoming a real estate broker. I mean, my family was all involved in my decision to do that. And 4 weeks after I got my license and I had joined up with an agency, my aunt went out and bought her first house from somebody that she found through somebody else, right? And of course, when I went to her and said, "Hey, Judy, I'm really I'm excited for you. I'm glad that you got a house, but did you know that I'm a real estate broker?" She goes, "Oh, no. Oh, I think I remember you telling me about that." I said, "It was 4 weeks ago." 4 weeks ago. And so from that point on, I literally set a policy. It was an internal policy that I would not go one day without telling somebody new what my career was, what I was doing in the industry. And so I forced myself. I mean, and I do it religiously. And so I carry my business cards with me. I'm all decked out with my technology, so I can send them a text message if they want my contact information. But grocery store, library, picking up my kids from school, small little opportunities of just telling one person what you do for a living, and saying, hey, it's not a sleazy sales tactic, but here's my card. If there's anything that I can do for you in the future that can maybe even give you a resource or something like that, give me a call. Let me know what I can do for you. And that's it. And I can't tell you how much business I've actually procured from that.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll give your business card to somebody else that they know and say, hey, Jeff told me that you're a real estate broker, and he seemed like you're friendly. That's me. And it's amazing what comes around from that. So it's just don't go a day without telling somebody what you do.
Yeah.
And then continue that cycle, because they forget. And I remember that. It was really painful.
Yeah, I know.
Really
I've had that. I had the list, right?
Yeah.
The list of people I'll never talk to again in my
Yeah.
life. You just made the list. And I went around and I was like grumpy and I started thinking, well, whose fault is it really? It's mine for not, you can't blame them. It's your fault for not getting, for not letting them know that you're in the business, constantly reminding them. But to Scott's point, I think over time, you have to start growing antennas. You almost like you're in the grocery store and you hear someone talking about real estate, and you kind of navigate into the conversation because you're in tune. You're more aware of your surroundings, what's going on, and so I think that's it's important just to be out and about, and that's the fun part about this business. When you kind of get to that where you're doing your thing. And you're bumping into deals, it feels like, because you're letting the universe, you're not fighting nature, right? You're just going down the vein of your natural, whoever you are, your personality. I was in the business from 91 to 95. I saved up all my commissions and I bought a piece of commercial real estate, and I built an oil change center, which I still have. And I've got a few of them now. But anyway, so I made a little thing. All these vendors are coming to me now, right? These oil companies, and they want to sell me their brand of filters and their oil and all this stuff, right? And it's a passive investment to me, but I was able to take real estate to build these investments. So I said, okay, wait a minute. You want me to buy your oil or your filters, or you want me to advertise in your whatever it is? That's fine, but I have a reciprocal agreement. Well, they said, what do you mean by that? I said, well, if I buy anything from you, then I expect you to buy from me and your relatives and your friends, right? Just a little twist in the conversation. So as I'm signing this agreement to be in their little magazine, advertisement, or whatever it is, I turned the conversation. I said, okay, before I sign this, we have an agreement, right?
You say it jokingly, too.
I laugh at that. And I'm honestly, I'm just kind of kidding them, but they remember it. You wouldn't believe how much business I got off of people. So, note to self, when you spend $1 with somebody, you have that conversation with them about, I'm spending money with you, I expect you to spend money with me, but you do it in a joking, kind of funny way, but no, you're serious. And you'd be surprised that they'll remember that conversation, and they'll come back and say, hey Tim, my aunt, or hey Tim, we're my mom, or we're thinking about moving. And it was huge. I would say it's 20% of my business.
Yeah.
Because you think about all the interactions you have with people when you're spending money, that's fine, but it's a two-way street.
Yeah, my financial advisor, when I was interviewing financial advisors, I made sure I picked someone that was going to send me nice referral leads, and he already, is looking to buy for himself, and, so make sure you're doing business with people that will send you business, it's just part of a healthy relationship with any professional.
Yeah, and so it's that. But anyway, just get out and about, and to answer your question, just go out, live your life, have fun, but be disciplined on a regular basis. So, and do those
Don't
daily.
be sleazy.
Yeah, don't be sleazy. Yeah, don't do things that seem weird in your own gut feeling, but it's those daily tasks, those behaviors. You got to change those behaviors. So, any others before we conclude? Any other questions for me? I'll be still around. I'll come in at the end again too, but I'm always available if you have anything, any questions.
What does a typical, well, I know there's no such thing as a typical first year, but what would a first year agent, what would be considered a successful first year, do you think?
I'd say 30 deals.
Success is
I don't want to put a
quit.
cap on anybody.
Right. I mean,
Because if
it's
I say
just-
6 and you do 6, well, you said I met my goal. Well, maybe 6 isn't it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'm just thinking,
What do
how
I
does
see out there?
one learn what a realistic
Like to
goal
set
is?
your goal,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I equate it to the size of your warm market list. So if the larger your list, the more that goal should be. So if you can come up with, say, 100, if you come up with 100 names versus 500 names on your warm market list, and you're going to be more successful. The more people you have, the more you should do. But I see agents do 6 deals first year. How many do you have, Tyler?
Well, that's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of share some stuff, so he's got quite a bit more.
I mean, I think 6 is high for first year. I think, I think 4 would be a good sweet number, but it's hard to say. Some people get in this business and they do freaking 30 deals their first year. I'm not
Yeah,
kidding.
yeah.
And then there's some people that do only 2 because they just moved here. I mean, it just kind of
Right.
depends. And those people that did 2 their first year, they might do, 10 the next year though. You know,
And
it
it
just
also
kind of
depends on
depends.
the market.
Yeah, it depends on the market
Yeah,
too. You
it's
can't really
weird.
put a number on it. You really can't.
Yeah, really, yeah, because I mean, you might get in, and because our market kind of seemed to peak around June 10th, right? And now we've been dropping down, and according to stats, it's going to pick back up. But so it depends on when you get into and all that. There's a lot of variables.
I mean,
But in general, the bigger your warm market list. So if you're new to the area, you got a little bit more work to do. You got to build it up. You got to get to know a lot of people.
yeah,
Taking a stranger, making them friends.
Yeah, we have agents that come in and they don't do any deals their first 6 months. They're working hard and everything, but they just can't get traction. And then people like my cousin's girlfriend who just got licensed, she's already got 3 deals in contract. She got licensed last month. So it's like, it just depends on really who you are, and how you're able to, what kind of network you have and how you're able to leverage that network from what I can see.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
really it. It's how big is your network, and leverage that network and take strangers and make them friends. Get out there, work hard, do open houses. At first, you got to work weekends. You got to get out there and you got to take 1 day a week. What I like to do is I set my goals for the week. I bust my butt, and if I get all my goals accomplished by Friday, then I can take the weekend off, meaning Saturday usually. If I don't meet my goals, then I'm gonna have to do some work over the weekend. So it's a little bit of self-discipline there.
Are you still doing open houses yourself?
Not unless I have to, unless he
He's not
decides to go
doing
to Seattle or something. So I'm offloading everything to him right now. So that's why he has more deals than most, because it's my database of people. But
Nice.
yeah, I don't anymore. And like I said, unless that's the situation. But I did them for years.
Yeah.
I did them for years.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I work most weekends. I don't really have a life anymore, so.
How it goes.
Yeah.
You should until the kids come in.
Build it now before the kids get here, right?
Right.
Because then things change. Life is funny. It's just a series of phases, right?
But you're still working. When you have kids and you're on the soccer field,
Mhm.
you're still talking
Exactly.
to people.
It's a great way to network.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
You could be in a bar with
Here's,
your
here's
friends
something
and still could be
slightly on the
considered
sleaze
working,
side, but
really.
not really. Okay.
Not that everybody wants to be the
So
best.
when my kids were in sports, and well, I coached them when they were little, but when they got in high school, I might, instead of going home and changing into my shorts and t-shirt, I might just show up straight from work, dressed like this. I'm not gonna do it all the time like a
Right.
dork, right? But I might one time show up that way, and they say, "Oh, God, you look nice today." I said, I didn't have time to go home and dress. I was out showing property with the buyer. Bam.
Right.
Now you told 20 people that you're in real estate.
Not happening
So
to me.
now I'm not going to show up there next week and then wearing that, but you know what I mean.